Oh yeah, love that sound. Love it. I love it ever since I bought my first album, which was, you might guess, the Led Zeppelin album that has that song on it, Physical Graffiti. This is a great clav. Like the B3, I am surprised to realize that I think it sounds better than the Nord. It's got that really nice, even, flat mechanical quality that you want in a clav. You don't want too much high end, you don't want too much of a real strong treble or middle. You want even, flat. You don't want it to sound like a cheap toy. It'll even detune if you hit it really hard. I like that. You might not like that, but you can change that by adjusting the velocity curve. That's, of course, true to a real clav. Here in the engine, you've got the classic registers. The pickup registers, and I will take off the tremolo I've got turned on right now, and the amps I've got turned on right now, so you can hear this in its basic sample of glory. The AC, the lower pickup, and then, of course, the BEC, I believe, is the upper pickup. The DB is both pickups at once, and the DA is out of phase. That's the really, really thin little chicken picking one. And of course, the EQ switches, classic to the clav. And Nord and Korg and a lot of other keyboard makers don't usually model these, especially not anymore. I think the Electros used to. My Electro 3 did, but then they stopped doing it recently with the Electros. They just have you use the onboard EQ, but of course, if you want classic clav modeling, the Gemini has it right here. Right down to the fact that if you turn all four of them off, you won't get any sound. So still on that DA chicken picking here is just soft, medium, treble, and brilliant. So by default, the clav pickups are assigned to all the same on-off buttons as the chorus on-off for the Hammond. The brilliant treble, medium, soft switches are assigned to the same buttons as the Hammond's percussion, and I went ahead and changed them. If you look at these CC numbers, you might recognize these are the drawbars, 1 through 9. The upper drawbars start on CC 12. I'll show you why when I do my setup. So since parameters are individual to each instrument, you can reassign these to the drawbars without screwing with the Hammond's drawbar controls. The mute slider, which is another cool feature, is usually assigned to the first drawbar, and I've assigned it to the 7th. This is also something that I didn't have on the Electro. The big part of playing clav, if you see, Stevie Wonder or Billy Preston, they usually have the mute slider out just a hair whenever they're playing. It all just sounds fantastic. I love it. I tend to use the bass amp here in the effects. I've turned it back on here with just a hair of drive. I like the bass amp because it has, again, a mellow, subdued, even tone. Not too much high end, not too much middle. You don't want that fake cheap toy sound that virtual clavs almost always are cursed with. Of course, I also add a little tremolo for a nice dry sound, like in Mr. Withers. Of course, you can take off the tremolo if you want a really even tone, and you can actually, the drive sounds really good on this. It's hard to get drive to sound good with a clav as well, and it sounds really great here. I'll have the Hammond fill in for the guitar here. Ah, beautiful. I also like the rotary Leslie effect in stop mode. Billy Preston liked to use this. I think this is what he used on Heartbreaker. Of course, you want to put it in slow or fast and then fiddle with it until you get it to where you like it. Almost like a far away, very subdued tone. Really brings it down. Of course, you're going to need wah with the clav. There's 4 types of wah in the Gemini. There's this tri-LFO. That's auto. There's a square LFO, which sounds really nice. It might be, I think, my favorite of all the auto wahs I've ever heard. It sounds really good. And then there's one that's just called auto, which I don't know what the difference is. Which is not very strong. And then the 4th type is pedal, weirdly. So you can control it now. I don't know why there's a pedal type and then there's 3 types of auto. And there's not just 3 types and you assign the sweep to, the pedal or don't. So it's a little irritating because I think that square LFO actually sounds better than the pedal. Like, listen to this. I don't know if it's my imagination, but I just like the square LFO. I feel like something is going on there that's a little bit better. There's also, of course, a phaser, which is quite good.